Do not adjust your digital device. What you are about to see and hear may shock and appall you. Join our hosts as they encounter countless thrills, spills, chills, and hilarity as they explore the very weirdest in pop culture. The following media is so strange, so beyond the scope of what is normal, it will make you ask the question, why does this exist? Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Why Does This Exist? I'm Chris.
And I'm Rob.
And today, this is actually our first podcast of, well, it's not our first podcast of 2022, but we're pretty early. This is our 1 year anniversary, actually. It's been about a year of us just doing episodes, and, you know, we want to thank all of you for just checking us out, telling some of your goofy friends that we actually exist, and just sitting here and listening to us, and just I'm glad that we get to entertain you for a full year now. We may be switching things over to another platform. So like just moving away from Podbean. We're not sure. We're looking into it. So like stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. If we're gonna move, we're gonna move. But new year, new everything, maybe. But we've got like a good couple of months lined up, so we're gonna have a lot of fun. And you know, it's just been a blessing to do this for a full year. You guys made me realize how much I missed doing this. So thanks to you.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been a whole year. It's crazy.
Went by quick too. Well,
yeah.
Slow and then fast. That's basically what happened. It was like the first half of 21 was very slow, and then
they're still recovering from 2020.
Pretty much, and then like July, August, once the summer started to like end, everything else just kind of sped up.
Yeah. And it's already almost the end of January, so there you go. 2022 is already flying by.
Yeah, freaking crazy, man. Well, that's good. That's good. The sooner that, like, the sooner we get closer to an endemic, the better in my book.
Yeah.
I just want to go do things. So again, not that I haven't been doing anything, but like I would like to be able to just like do more, you know, and not have to like think about it or just like worry. Oh man, I hope I need to do this. Otherwise, but like I have this plan, so like should I do that? Otherwise, because I really don't want this to get impacted. I don't want to have to think about that stuff anymore. So the closer we get to that, the better.
Yeah.
But we have a couple of months of stuff built out. Today we're going to be talking about a hilarious freaking program that has been on TV for quite some time now. It's freaking
still on.
It is still on. It turns your brain off. It cracks you up. If you don't like this like wacky humor, then I'm sorry you were never hugged, but sometimes it just happens and you just never get hugged as a child. We're talking about Robot Chicken. Before we do that, I will just do our little spiel that we do just about every week, just to let you know where you can find us and how you can find us and how you can interact with us. We are Why Does This Exist? We're a podcast that talks about the very strangest that's going on in pop culture, past, present, or future. We talk about movies, we talk about comic books, we talk about strange toys and shows revolving around toys, such as this one, which is a stop motion with action figures of all things. Think about basically the subject this week is Toy Story on acid. We've been doing this for a year, like I just said. Anything in pop culture, pro wrestling as well. We just talk about it all. The good, the bad, the ugly. We even get into like weird conspiracy theory deaths that we started doing. We might actually have one this week for you, so stay tuned. You can find us on all the big podcast places. You can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, TuneIn, Alexa, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes, Stitcher. And you can also like, comment, and subscribe and share our videos that are on YouTube. Find the YouTube channel, Why Does This Exist? And you can get all of our stuff. You get all of our episodes. You get some clips of some episodes. We've got some more clips that we've got to upload that we'll be working on over the next couple of days that we'll be uploading. So keep your eyes and ears open for that stuff. And if you want to give us some money, you can do that by heading over to patreon.com/whydoesthisexist. And you could even do this through Podbean. If we decide to stay on Podbean, they have a Patreon thing too. The prizes are the same. And you get access to the Discord. You can chat with us. You can give us some ideas. And we can give you a shout out. It'll be a lot of fun. And we can interact with each other. And, let's just have a grand old time wherever you are in the world. This is all about building relationships, and we love you folks who have come here to tune in. You can also find us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/WDTEpod. Although if you're actually sane, then you're probably not on Twitter. So good for you. You can also like us on Facebook, facebook.com/whydoesthisexistpod. That's where you will find us there. Also, hope you're not crazy, but if you are, well, you listen to our show, so you're probably crazy. You can also check all of our stuff out at whydoesthisexistpod.com. We also have some articles that we upload that we write every once in a while. It's a lot of fun. There's some bonus stuff in there. It's good for you. And if you want to just tell us how we're doing and you like what we're doing, but you don't want to broadcast it on YouTube, that's fine. You can send us an email over at whydoesthisexistshow@gmail.com. That's the news. Here's the weather. You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge from a ragtag group of rogues. Let's get on with the goddamn show. Robot Chicken. Like I said, this is Toy Story on acid. Think about it if it was in Sid's room all the time and all the toys are just high on every drug and having a giant orgy. That's basically what Robot Chicken is. I love it. It's freaking hysterical. This was created by Seth Green, who my friend Johnny, who has he's actually met Seth Green several times in random occasions. Yes, and Seth Green knew him at like years ago. Johnny had a huge mohawk, and he did the traditional Liberty spikes, and it was pretty kick ass. His brother just knows people, or he just goes to these cool things, and they went over to Carl Thompson to Carl Thompson's demo, which I think was under his luthier thing in a little cafe area or something, that he owned the building where he builds the bases for Les Claypool from Primus, among other people. The Carl Thompson basses, if you haven't played one, they're boutique instruments, so they're expensive, but good God, what precision is in here. They're beautiful, beautiful things. They sound unbelievable. You can't get enough of that stuff. It's just beautiful. And Carl Thompson's a very old fellow, so I'm not sure how much longer he's going to be making the basses. I'm pretty sure he's still around. But I don't know how many more basses his hands have in him to make, but he's a very nice guy from what I hear. Anyway, he was doing a demo, or Les was doing a demo or something like that. Some cafe over there, and Johnny and his brother went. They got tickets or whatever the hell it was. They went down to this thing, and Seth Green walks up to him and he's like, "Yo, that's a sweet mohawk." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, thanks, man." And they were just talking a little bit. Apparently, Seth Green is the nicest guy in the world. And then
he seems like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, so very cool. They hung out with Carl. They hung out with Les. They hung out with Seth, and they had a really great night. And then maybe a year or two later, or something like that, Johnny's in Midtown Comics in Times Square, which is a really cool store. They have several of them.
Mhm.
But, the first one I think was in Times Square, and it's a nice store. It's pretty. It's like it has a tiny entranceway, but it's actually like two big floors. It's just jam packed to the gills with comics and collectibles. Really great little like comic shop. And actually, Seth Green, fun fact, met his wife in that store.
Oh,
Yeah, so true love does happen sometimes, even to nerds. But anyway, they're in. He's in the store, and then like Johnny's just doing whatever he's doing in the store, and he just hears out of the blue, "Hey, Mohawk guy!" And he like turns around, and it's Seth Green, and he's like, "Whoa, I'm on a nickname by name basis with Seth Green. Cool. Green gave me a nickname."
that's cool.
Yeah, so that's his thing. Maybe if maybe if Johnny ever comes on the podcast for something one day, we'll have him tell the stories and he can tell them better. And he's
Yeah.
had a bunch of other people. Yeah, his brother does like border patrol for like air security. Like, so every once in a while there's like there's like something where like there's a celebrity on a plane who's like it's sometimes it's a musician, sometimes it's somebody else, and his brother ends up meeting them, or in some cases he has to like detain them and he doesn't want to. Like there's a story where like he had to detain DMX because DMX came back from a tour, and it turned out that like DMX fell behind on his child support payments.
Oh God.
So there was like a warrant for
Oh man.
like, and his brother was like, and they were like, "Hey, you got to take the person off of this plane." He's like, "Oh, okay, it's not a big deal." And then like he sees who it is, and he's like, "Ah, damn it! Does it have to? Do I have to do this? Like, can we just let him go?" And they were like, "No, you got to do it. He has like child support payments. It's a court order." And he's like, "Ah, crap." So DMX apparently, maybe rest in peace. DMX gets off the plane, he sees the security, and he's like, and he knows what it is, and they know what it is, and he didn't put up a fight. Apparently, he was a very nice guy too, and he he complied, but like apparently he talked how he rapped in like the cadence, so he was like,
Oh my God.
I have a terrible DMX impression, so I'm gonna like sully his good name right now, and I'm gonna feel really bad about it. But he's like, "Hey, I'm really sorry. Like, I didn't want to." This is the brother talking. Like, "Hey, man, I'm really sorry. I have to take you in. This is the worst. I used to have posters of you on my wall when I was in high school. This is the last thing I ever wanted to. This is the last way that I ever wanted to meet you." And then DMX is just like, "Oh man, that sucks, but it's okay." Whatever, like something along those lines. He's like, "I get it, but I didn't want to do it. But damn it, my ex-wife is a real pain in the ass. Paying the child support, so I gotta go into jail." Huh.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, that's my bad DMX impression. Anyway, long story short, Seth Green is a nice guy. DMX was a great guy. Robot Chicken is a great show. Enough. So the origin of the store. So the origin of this show, which is actually Adult Swim's longest running program.
Yes, in terms of years and episodes.
Yes, it has. Once the Venture Brothers stopped, Robot Chicken kind of took over. But this was.
I mean, Robot Chicken is probably Adult Swim's best original programming.
I think
would
so.
say, besides, not counting their syndicated shows, obviously. Like Family Guy was probably their most popular show for a long time, but it was just syndicated. I think it's a toss up between Robot Chicken and Aqua Teen Hunger Force for which
I think
their
that's
best
fair.
original shows.
Yeah. Well, we have yet to see a Robot Chicken movie, which I don't know how
That's true.
to do that.
I mean, it would probably just be a long episode of Robot Chicken.
Probably. I mean, that's what they've done in their hour specials and like the stuff.
Yeah, that's basically what the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie was. It was just a really long episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually never saw that.
I saw it once when it first came out. Like years ago. I think they showed it on Adult Swim at one point, and I like watched it, but I don't even remember it. It was so long ago.
I heard very mixed things, and the people who told me that it was good were all high when they watched it. So I can't like, which how else are you gonna watch an Aqua Teen movie? But like, let's be honest. But their accounts are not exactly reliable. But this also depends on good by what standards. If you're asking Siskel, if you're asking Ebert and Roper, is like what they like their expectations of the.
I don't even remember what it was because when I watched it, it was probably like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like half asleep. So I don't even know if I watched the whole thing. You know, I probably fell asleep halfway through it.
Yeah, all I've heard is the best part of that movie is within the first like a minute and a half when Mastodon comes or like does the weird song for like the introduction, and it all goes downhill from there. But we'll talk about we'll talk about Aqua Teen on another episode at some point.
Yes.
Robot Chicken to get back on the trail, which we've already strayed a bit. Robot Chicken was so this was originally supposed to be a show. This was originally supposed to be called like Twisted Toy Fair Theater. It was preceded by this thing called Twisted Toy Fair Theater, where the co-creator Matthew Steinreich and I think the co-writers Doug Goldstein and Tom Root, they worked at this now defunct magazine called Toy Fair, the toy magazine, FARE. There's a big not convention, but it's like an insider like toy like trade show at the beginning of every year, like around this time in the Javits Center called Toy Fair, FAIR, that they do. That is not this. This is Toy Fair, FARE, like toy money, the toy like Toy Fair or the toy magazine, and it was owned by Wizard Entertainment, who does like the Wizard convention and everything like that. Wizard World is the name of the convention. It's like the second.
Oh yeah, I know Wizard World.
Yeah, it's the second largest one next to Comic-Con. So it's This was published by Toy Fair was published by Wizard Entertainment, and it was like a toy preview magazine, and like they had features on the toys and all that stuff. But they also had like sections in there where they would have like very silly like crass humor, and they had like comic strips that they had in there called like Twisted Toy Fair Theater, and they would photograph the toys built on sets by the magazine staff, and they'd sometimes do this for they'd sometimes use this for covers too in the early days, but they did like these comic strips where they'd pose the toys and they'd make all these scenarios, and it was like very crass, and it was like this Mad Magazine style of like humor that they would interject into the magazine. So that concept ended up basically being the base for it. The magazine the magazine ran for a while. It went from 97 to December 2005, and then they December 2005 was the 100th issue, and then they went for a while, and the final publication it was shut down, and it had a sister publication called Wizard Toy Fair. They both got shut down on January 24th, 2011. So actually a little more than 10 years ago, Toy Fair was shut down as a magazine at its 163rd episode. But they later, Seth Green, came along, and I guess he was friends with them. I guess he was friends with Steinreich, Goldstein, and Root wherever they were from, and they went and he said, "Hey, I really like the comic strip. Like, could we do like a whole show of that?" And they were like, "Yeah, like what the hell?" So it was so like they had like dabbled around a few other things, and they were gonna do like potential names were Junk in the Trunk, The Deep End, and Toys in the Attic. which ended up becoming the names of the first 3 episodes of the show. But the name Robot Chicken actually came from a dish. It was inspired by a dish on the menu at a West Hollywood Chinese restaurant called Kung Pao Bistro, where Seth Green and Matthew Steinreich had like eaten at a few times. It's just funny. It just came from that.
Robot chicken.
Yeah.
What kind of fucking, what is that?
I have no idea. I don't know if that's actually that. I don't know if it's like the actual name of the dish.
I wonder if it was like one of those Chinese restaurants where like the menu is printed in like really poor English and it's supposed to be something else, but like it's like mistranslated, so it said robot chicken. Like
Maybe. Or maybe like it just looked funny when it came out, and they were just like, "Oh, this looks like wires or something." Maybe it's a robot chicken. For whatever, I don't know if it was an in joke or if it wasn't, but that was just basically like what ended up happening. So Chinese food named this show, basically,
yeah.
and they put it together. They just produced a few episodes, and it ended up getting picked up by Adult Swim, because where else? Let's be honest, where else could you see this being aired?
It might have worked on Comedy Central.
Otherwise, I could see Comedy Central, but like Comedy Central also does not know what to do with a good idea when it hits them in the face. So
Yeah.
Comedy Central just like botching it completely.
Yeah.
Comedy Central also historically, they try to take too much creative control over things.
Well, it's Viacom, so
Yeah, so, go figure. Where Adult Swim is just like, nobody cares.
that's like Viacom's notorious for doing that. It's like fucking on MTV and all that shit too, and it's like the same crap.
Yeah, well, we talked about this, that Viacom was one of the five companies that control.
Own everything. Yeah. 95% of the media or something like that.
Yeah, is owned by
Yeah.
six
companies.
Well, now 5, since Viacom and CBS have merged.
Oh, that's true.
Now 5 companies. That's crazy. It's like the 5 families in the mafia, which is probably what we said then too. But
Yeah.
sometimes art imitates life, and sometimes corporate America just sucks.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, as if corporate America's ever been good in any fashion.
Yeah.
But what Robot Chicken is it just takes these weird, it takes all these like toys and these, and it just puts them in these weird situations with stop motion animation, and they do crazy things.
The basic premise is a sketch comedy show that uses action figures as the characters, basically, and it's like there's like a bunch of pop culture references. They use like superheroes, Star Wars, and anything you could really think of. They have like regular ass like action figures that are just like regular people. They have and it's just a sketch comedy. They do Transformers and like anything pop culture related. They just use these, they have these funny situations. Like I think there's one where they did like the whole premise was that it was like the Transformers and Optimus Prime ends up getting like prostate cancer, so it's almost like a PSA, and like to always get your prostate checked or whatever. Like, and it's always like stupid stuff like that. Like it's like it's either like regular people juxtaposed in these like ridiculous like impossible situations, or like comic book characters or cartoon characters juxtaposed in like regular ass situations, basically.
Yes, it's a very Monty Python thing.
Yes. Yeah, and Seth Green grew up watching Monty Python, so that was like one of his biggest influences.
As everyone should.
Yeah. So and that's pretty clear here, because it's very non sequitur. There's really no plot to the Robot Chicken episodes. It's just like a bunch of random like sketches, kind of strung together. When they did the Star Wars special and stuff, they kind of had some semblance of like a move from scene to scene, but really wasn't that much. Like they just kind of like had like different sketches that were like intertwined a little bit, like over like several like different, like it would do like one part of a sketch like with Boba Fett, then go to something else, and then come back to Boba Fett kind of thing. It wasn't like really like there was no plot. It was just like a longer sketch that was kind of like interspersed between other ones.
Right, and so they also have like running gags that happen in between things too.
Yeah, they have a list. There's a number of like of original characters, like the titular robot chicken, which is in the intro, and also like the humping robot who's always like looking for like a washing machine to hump and stuff like that. So there's various different little like original characters that they created for the show that are kind of in these like running gags that go out throughout all the seasons.
Right, or there's like the nerdy guy who just keeps showing up in things.
Yes, yeah. And he always gets like just like hurt very badly.
Yeah, he always gets the crap kicked out of him.
Yeah.
But I will say when they did the Star Wars episode, which they've done several of them now, and one of them was the first one was actually nominated for an Emmy Award as the outstanding animated program for programming less than an hour, which good job for them. Has actually won several awards, but
yeah, it's actually a very well done show. Like the animation is like super smooth for being stop motion. It's like it's very very smooth animation, which is like pretty impressive, and I'm sure an insane amount of work goes into it, because a lot of the sequences that they do are like really crazy, and like it's like you really like surprises you that they do stop motion because of how smooth it is and how good it looks.
Right, I'm sure it takes several days to just do one episode, which every episode is like 10 minutes, by the way.
Yeah. I think that they're like
crazy amount of work goes into it.
The specials are longer. Like the Star Wars special, I think was just under an hour, or like 45 minutes or something.
I think the second one was longer. It was around that length, but the first one was about 30 minutes.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, the regular episodes are 10 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever.
Right,
counting for commercial breaks or.
Right, but what I was getting at was in the Star Wars episode, they pulled out a lot of the stops, and they actually took the time, because they're all nerds too. They took the time to actually get the voice to actually get the voices of George Lucas, Mark Hamill, Mark Hamill's done a lot of voice work over the years anyway. Yeah. So like I'm sure he was the easiest one to get, because it was. And but they got George Lucas to come in and do voiceover. They got Mark to come in and do it. They got D. Williams to come in and voice for Lando, and they got even Ahmed Best, who was Jar Jar Binks.
Yes,
to just come in and be Jar Jar, and it's they put a painstaking amount of detail into it, even just getting the actual voices. Where it's like it's a stop motion silly claymation show where you could just get a bad impersonator and nobody would care because it's just so over the top ridiculous. But they actually took the time and the care, because they love this franchise, that they really wanted to do it right and get everybody, no matter how silly this thing is. So, kudos to them. I really have to applaud them for actually going to all those great lengths.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. It really is crazy. I mean, Seth Green has, obviously he's been in Hollywood for a long time, so he's got a lot of connections, and he gets a lot of people that he knows to do voices, a lot of famous people he knows. Like Seth MacFarlane has done a lot of voice work for Robot Chicken. Mm-hmm. So I think it's, it's obviously that helps the fact, and Joss Whedon too, because Seth Green was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so, it's easier.
They have a ton of. They have like just a revolving door of talent.
Yes,
constantly comes in to just.
Well, he gets a lot of like famous like other people too, and of course Les Claypool did the intro music and is the voice of the Mad Scientist. So he just it's just they do get a lot of pretty famous people that come on.
Well, they've had Weird Al and Mila Kunis come in all the time.
Yes.
Like,
Well, I'm sure Mila Kunis too, because she's again like this connection with Seth Green with Family Guy there. So you know,
but Weird Al's been on there like several times over the years.
yeah,
He just pops in basically.
yeah. It's a huge amount. Like the list of guests. I mean, they've had Jean-Claude Van Damme. They've had Triple H. Just so many people. Telic Tequila, I think, was on an episode. Like it just like the amount of like friggin' just random like celebrities that you would like, never guess would be on this like stupid friggin' stop motion sketch comedy show on Cartoon Network, Adult Swim.
Which every show is only 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Once again, so they're only getting them in for maybe like 2 lines at best. So it's just like,
well, yeah, because the sketches are like a few seconds long.
right?
The way it's done, it kind of sets it up in the intro where the mad scientist finds like a dead chicken on like roadkill on the side of the road, brings it in, makes it into like a bionic chicken, and it comes back to life. And then he kind of straps it into a chair and makes it watch like all these TV screens like Clockwork Orange. And like basically the premise is that everything you're seeing is what the chicken is being forced to watch, I guess, to like indoctrinate it or something. So it's almost like someone's like changing channels, like between every sketch it like statics out and goes to the next sketch, like someone changed the channel.
What a crappy way to come back to life.
Yeah, right?
Like you're just, like first of all, you're a chicken, which is a pretty bad fate to begin with. Like nothing ever good happens from being born a chicken.
Yeah.
And you get killed. You get killed however you get killed, and just all of a sudden a mad scientist drags your carcass off the ground. You can't even die with dignity, which he brings you back to his castle. He hooks you up, he electrocutes you, which already not good for the poultry. You end up coming back to life, and you're just like, oh my god, I've gotten a second chance at life. Maybe the priest chicken was actually onto something. Maybe there really is a god. Maybe it really does have plans for me. Is this man with the crazy hair God? Maybe that's what happens. Am I in heaven? Maybe this is heaven. Nope. You get strapped into a chair, you have a robotic eye, and then it's being pried open. You have to watch all of these ridiculous things that are totally brainless going on at the same time, and you can't hear yourself think. And then all of a sudden you have this weird, annoying theme song in the background, but you don't know what it is because you're still a chicken. And now you're just totally lost. Like, that is a rude awakening if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
I gotta, this chicken's going through hell.
Yeah, the chicken, look.
I feel so bad for the poor damn chicken.
And all the shit he's gotta watch, like, just the fucking stupid, like, all the shit. It's crazy.
It's just how many times can you watch a robot trying to hump a washing machine,
yeah,
before you lose it? And also, the washing machine, it can't speak up for itself. Like, no means no, but the washing can't say that. It's pretty, like, it's a helpless washing machine. It's a helpless appliance. And
that's true. But is it sentient?
Like, I don't know, but the robot, like, it doesn't have like a robot penis or anything.
Yeah, it's just like bumping. Bumping metal.
Yeah, actually, Robot Penis is probably another program altogether that we're not going to talk about on this channel. But oh no, they've done it. I'm calling the show a channel. Well, we're in trouble. I'm already going off the deep end, which was the name of an episode, like we've said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a robot that's just humping appliances left and right. And, sometimes you gotta feel bad. What if the Frigidaire just is not built for that sort of impact?
Yeah.
The food is gonna go to waste. There's gonna be some problems. Your laundry, the sheets are forever going to be stiff. I don't know if I can help me out. I can't do this for. There's too many. There's just too many sad appliances. I'm looking around my house and like, what would the TV think if if the robot came and humped my TV? Would the TV fall off the wall because of all the friction and all of the force, or would it just want to put itself out of its misery? I don't want this 64 inch to just suddenly wind up on the floor, destroyed because a robot humped it and it just was depressed. Is there any counseling for these appliances? Do they go anywhere? Is there anywhere that they can go to get the help they need? Because they need better help. We don't have a promotion with better help, so I'm not going to do any sponsorship. If you want to do better help, you can go listen to some other jackoff's podcast, and you could go use their coupon code, and you can learn all about it from there. But until BetterHelp starts to sponsor us, we're not gonna bother plugging them. There's got to be some place where these appliances can go, and I'm not even sure if there's anything that they can do. But I love Robot Chicken. I love this show. It makes me laugh, and it's just one of those things that you really need after like a rough day, and you just need to turn your brain off, and you need to just sit there and laugh at something stupid. This is the show for you.
What's one of your favorite sketches?
I may have talked about it before, but this is one of the earlier episodes. Mm-hmm. My favorite, one of my favorite ones that comes to mind, and it might be my favorite one, is when we may have said this on the SWAT Cats episode. It was the one where billionaire Ted Turner.
Oh yeah.
Thinks that he's Captain Planet.
Yes,
and he starts running around.
Paints himself green.
Yeah, he paints himself green, and anyone that's doing any sliver of potential harm to an environment, it's not like an oil tycoon drilling. It's just it's just like some normal person just throwing litter on the street, and he just runs up to them and he goes, "I'm Captain Planet," and he just beats the crap out of them and sometimes murders them in cold blood.
Yeah.
And he's just running around screaming Captain Planet and just murdering everyone. So
yeah,
I
think I had mentioned mine on that same when we were talking about it. It's one of my favorite. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely one of the ones that I always think about that always comes to mind. Is there's this trend of people trying to make viral videos where they get souped, and basically what it is you pretend to be in trouble, so Superman comes down and saves you. And, it gets to the point where it's a boy who cried wolf thing, where, Superman, refuses to save anybody. So, eventually, this kid's "Oh, Superman, help! Lex Luger has taken hostages downtown, and he's got a bomb." And, Superman's really? Lex Luger, the wrestler? And so, Superman thinks it's fake, and then, it turns out it's Lex Luger, the wrestler, and he fucking bashes Superman on the head, and he actually has a bomb, and he blows everybody up. It's just so stupid and absurd. I'm
trying to think of some other. Oh, there's another one that's just completely random and out of the blue, and I think it's John Cena, and he's in the wrestling, he's in the ring, and John Cena is cutting a promo, and he's like he beats Triple H, and he's I've beaten everybody, I've gotten my title back, there's nobody in the WWE that can take me. Do I have any challengers? And it's Dakota Fanning who comes out.
Oh yeah.
And Dakota Fanning mops the floor with him.
Yeah, and it's fucking they actually are selling Dakota Fanning being this friggin' killer fucking top got person they're oh my god, it's Dakota Fanning
and she hits him with some ridiculous move, and they're it's the Dakota Nader.
Yeah.
I like that. Another one from the earlier episodes is when it's Teen Titans and they bring Beavis and Butthead in.
Oh yeah.
Beavis and Butthead, they just destroy the entire Teen Titans because they don't take anybody seriously. So they just destroy all of the motivation, and they just keep causing them to like get beat by every villain. And
yeah, and then Robin
caring.
has like a fucking Gundam suit for some reason. And like all they have to do is like turn on the button that like turns on the power for the suit, and they're like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like he gets his ass kicked. Like
I think everything blows up at the end, and they're just like, yeah, this is metal.
Yeah.
And
they're like hitting on fucking Starfire and Raven the whole time.
Yeah, and they're like visibly uncomfortable, and they're just idiots, so they don't care.
Yeah. I know another one of my favorites is when it was actually, I think it aired originally on like one of the regular episodes, but then they included it in the Star Wars special because it was like a Star Wars thing. But it's like Palpatine is like sitting at his desk with the fucking like those other like dignitaries that are always with him or whatever, and he's like, it's like telling the story about how he like friggin' like fought Yoda and he threw the Senate at him and stuff. And then like Darth Vader calls and like is basically Darth Vader calls to say that the Death Star blown up, and it's just like all you hear is Palpatine's side of the conversation. So it's like just like his reactions to everything, and he's just like, "What the hell's an aluminum falcon?" Like it's just so stupid. It's so like real and like hilarious. Like because Palpatine's like just. He's like this, like friggin'. It's like he's like this business owner basically, and he's like, "Do you want to have any idea what this is going to do to my credit? That thing wasn't even fully paid off yet." Like,
I mean, that's probably what really would have happened in that scenario.
Yes, yeah, it's just so real. And at the end, like he's fucking like after he like berates Darth Vader, like he's like Darth Vader's crying on the phone, and then like he's like saying goodbye, and he's like, "Oh, I love you too." And then fucking someone like calls. He gets another call, like call waiting in the middle of it. It's like just someone asking like what he wants for lunch and shit. Like it's like he's like just like it's like just the this is what Palpatine would be like if he was like working a regular ass job and basically had to deal with this shit. Like
yeah,
it's like it's the real Palpatine. It's what you don't see.
Pretty much. I mean, he was a senator. He did have to deal with things like this of like deciding what they were going to eat for lunch that day.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there were things that he had to do. I do want to say I love that every time that they involve Boba Fett in any Star Wars thing for Robot Chicken, it's like he's just bragging about stuff that he like never actually does anything, and like nobody believes him.
Yeah, and he's such a douchebag. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I love that. Another one. This is also an older one. There's it's a Charlie Brown parody, and it's of the Great Pumpkin, and like Brown. He's like Charlie Brown like always loses his kite, or his kite's always getting stuck in a tree, and he keeps saying, "Oh, the tree ate my kite" or whatever.
Yeah,
like. Eventually, like, because this is a Halloween related thing, the tree comes to life and it's actually like evil, and it's like, and
there was two different ones. There was one where the tree comes alive, and there's another one where it was the Great Pumpkin was actually.
That's right. No, I'm sorry. The Great Pumpkin is the one that I'm thinking of, and the Great.
Yeah, it was like a horror. It was like a horror movie almost. Like everyone's getting killed off one by one, basically.
Yeah, like the pumpkin's just eating everybody.
Yeah.
They summon the Great Pumpkin through a satanic ritual.
Yeah, Linus is like so desperate to see the Great Pumpkin. He does this fucking Satan like fucking sacrifice, and like it comes to life and starts killing.
Yeah, and then they have to get that's right. And then they give him they feed the Great Pumpkin to the kite-eating tree, and the kite-eating like bites its head off. And it
was like at the end, Charlie Brown's trying to figure out what to do, and he's like just talking out loud, and then like. Or I think like he was supposed to be talking to like Lucy or something, but then she gets like killed while he's not looking, and he's just talking, and then like all of a sudden it's like, "You should let the Great Pumpkin eat you." Like
yeah.
He turns around and it's the Great Pumpkin.
And it does like it has this really like ridiculous running motion that like it does like it's like the olive oil windmilling hands thing.
Yeah.
It has this absurd run that is just comical. And then at the end, it just shows them in hell, and they're all like dancing to like the Peanuts music in hell.
Yeah, and like Satan is dancing.
Yeah, it's just great. There's just a ton of them. I mean, the show's been going on for like since I don't know,
2005, I think 2006.
Yeah, I like I was in like we were in high school when it like first came
Yes.
out, which we are not in high school anymore. Newsflash. We're in our
Yeah.
early 30s.
I remember I when like the DVDs came out, I got like I think it was like season 1 through 4 on the DVD. And like me and my buddy Mike, we would just like sit and like watch it just for hours. We would just like fucking put the DVD on and like watch the whole season in one sitting. Which, it wasn't that like much because like, they're only like 10-minute episodes. Like one season it was like, maybe like 2 hours long or an hour and a half long, for one whole season. But it would, you just sit there and just watch the DVDs because they were just they're so classic and so like good. They just never were like boring. You could just sit there and fucking watch it for like hours and just and find enjoyment and like reruns. Like, you watch the freaking reruns on Adult Swim and shit, and they was just, like, they never get old. They were just always funny.
Yeah, it just never gets old. It's just stupid stuff, but it just never gets old because it's just so ridiculous and so damn funny.
And it's like timeless because like you think about like the soup, like getting souped thing where they're trying to go viral, getting Superman to save them. It's like something stupid that would like be a TikTok trend now, like
Oh,
that like
absolutely.
if Superman was a fucking real person, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get souped. That's my new TikTok trend. You try to get fucking Superman to save you.
Yeah, I could if superheroes were real, I could see things like that happening.
Oh yeah.
Like it. Honestly, I hope that I could see them like parodying that on The Boys in the next season.
Okay.
And then, like Homelander just comes and like murders them. Oh, speaking of murder, we haven't done one of these in a long time. Actually, wait, let me play the theme song. But let's get down to this conspiracy theory segment that we have called Truth or Whack, where we try to identify, where we take a famous murder or like a famous
or famous death. It doesn't have
famous
to be
death.
we don't
Doesn't
know
have-
if it's a murder.
Doesn't have to be a murder. Actually, that's the fun. So we take a famous death and we try to, and that has strange and mysterious circumstances surrounding the person's death, and we try to take that and we try to see if and we try to like just have like a conspiracy theory and just like kind of feed into it and decide whether or not this was actually whether the person actually died the way that publications have said that they died, or if there may have been some foul play. This is called Truth or Whacked. Wait, I have a theme song now. Let me play it.
All right, so on today's episode of Truth or Whacked, we're going to be talking about Eazy-E. For those who don't know, Eazy-E is one of the, like, pretty much, you could say one of the founders of gangster rap. He was, famously in NWA, and he had his own solo records, and, very famous. Like, if you don't know who Eazy-E is, then crawl out from under your rock and go on Spotify right now and listen to some Eazy-E, because he's one of the best rappers ever.
Yeah, he really is. He was like the drive. He was like one of the driving forces of the NWA. It was like between him and Ice Cube and Dre, really.
Mm-hmm.
He was a force to be reckoned with. Eazy-E was the best.
Yes. So he was obviously he owned the record company. What was it? It was Death Row.
Was it Death Row?
No, Death Row was Dr. Dre's company with.
That's right.
He owned. Oh, what was the name of it? Ruthless Records. Duh. So Ruthless Records, well, they published the original NWA and his own stuff and a number of rappers, and he actually owned. So after NWA broke up in the early '90s, Eazy-E, because of the record deal that he had with Dre actually had to pay Eazy-E still to make records because he was still technically like signed with Easy, and they had a bad falling out when NWA broke up. There was like a really, it was a whole thing. They were, throwing diss raps at each other, and it started. They tried to diss Ice Cube when he left, and that, of course, he freaking came out with no Vaseline and pretty much destroyed them. And then so after that, NWA kind of like slowly dissolved on its own, and then they started, Dr. Dre did his own thing, and then whatever they had a kind of a rivalry. So in order to get out of, so like at this point now, Dre went to go to start Death Row Records, and with Suge Knight, who is famously a gangster, basically. That's, I mean, all you can really say. He's basically a fucking mob boss. He was actually one of NWA's bodyguards when they were still together, and then kind of like he started this thing with Dr. Dre, basically financing as the record company. So in order to get Dre to, or rather, Eazy-E to release Dre from his contract, he kind of like went to the studio one night and got Easy to, kind of like show up there alone. And Suge had like a bunch of guys like there with him, and like they basically like, almost did what like what was it, Tommy Dorsey did for Sinatra to get Sinatra out of his contract. They basically just beat the crap out of Eazy-E to make him sign over the rights to Dr. Dre's contract to Death Row. So whatever, that happened. If you've seen the movie Straight Outta Compton, they depict it pretty well, what actually happened. And Dre ended up getting released. So, and Eazy-E, to his defense, like kind of stood his ground. But obviously, when you're fucking surrounded by like 5 dudes that are just beating the shit out of you, what else can you do?
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much gonna die if you don't give them what they want.
Yeah, and they threatened to like go to his mother's house. Like they had like guys stationed outside his mother's house, and they were going to go in and whatever. So, whatever. Fast forward a couple of years, Eazy-E all of a sudden gets sick. He had this mysterious illness. He gets hospitalized. Turns out he is diagnosed with HIV. Actually, he had AIDS at this point. And this is like really almost out of nowhere. He hadn't been showing symptoms. He just got sick one day and like collapsed, and they rushed him to the hospital. Within a month of his diagnosis, he was dead.
Yeah, I think the day after, what was it, like the day after he openly said, "I have AIDS"?
Yes.
Died.
He penned like a letter to his fans basically saying what was going on, and he passed away. Yep. So now we go to the truth or whacked, because this is where it gets really sketchy, and this is probably I would say our most like whacked of the truth or whacks we've done. This is probably the most whacked, because this is like really fucked up. Years later, rumors started circulating that that Suge Knight hadn't just beat up Eazy-E, but had killed him. And Suge Knight has kind of been like, there's been rumors surrounding him that he's had other rappers killed, that he was behind Biggie's death, that he was behind Tupac's death.
And we'll get into that when we get to Biggie and Tupac.
Yeah. So it's alleged that Suge Knight, when these rumors started, it was alleged that he had somehow infected Eazy-E with AIDS. Like he got a syringe full of someone who had HIV and like injected the blood into Eazy-E or whatever. And, so obviously, there was like, okay, well, how that, it could be possible, but also Eazy-E was also like, he's promiscuous. He had done drugs in the past. So
yeah, so he was known to party pretty damn hard. I mean, they all were known to party hard, but I don't know if anybody like had partied harder than Eazy.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear that he like didn't really use any protection or anything like that.
Yes.
Or whatever. He didn't really have any regard for like, for that around that time. And also this was in the 80s and like 90s, where like AIDS really like the 80s and the very early 90s. You didn't really like AIDS in general. It
was still considered more
still
like,
very new. It like they
only
really
and
know
people
about
thought only
it.
homosexuals got AIDS. Like it was like there was still a lot of like ignorance behind what was what the disease was and how it was transmitted.
Right, and there's still like theories on how like the disease was even created. So
Yes.
like nobody really knows how that came into how AIDS came into existence, but or at least nothing. I don't know if there's been like anything that's been official as like this is the one reason. I've heard several. I don't know if since then they have like actually like found it. I think that recently they've come very close if they haven't had a cure.
They actually have cured.
They did cure
a
some
couple
people. I know they had I know one of the first person that they cured also had cancer, and I think as a
Yes.
side effect of AIDS. So I think they cured the guy of AIDS, but
They did. It was like a bone marrow transplant or a stem cell transplant or something because he had like leukemia. So they were trying to treat the cancer and end up inadvertently curing his AIDS as well.
right.
Anyway, so this is the part where it gets fishy. Suge Knight went to jail for several years because he's a fucking criminal, and that's
He murdered
everybody.
he murdered somebody in like broad daylight.
Yes. Is that what he originally went to jail for? I don't remember.
I think that's originally what it was, and
Okay, well, whatever. Well, he got out.
that in Straight Outta Compton too, but like he went to jail and he like for like killing a guy, but he didn't do like any absurd amount of time. Like he got out.
No, he got out a few years later, and this is where it gets fucked up because he went on Jimmy Kimmel, and this is like the early 2000s, probably like 2003 or 4 or something like that. I don't remember the exact year, but he went on Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Kimmel did this like sketch where he was like wearing like a bulletproof vest, I guess, because like Suge Knight was there, and like he's joking like, "Ha, he's a gangster rapper, he's gonna get shot or whatever." So Suge Knight is like, well, that's, you can't really shoot someone anymore because the forensics, the bullets, they can arrest you. So what you really got to do is you got to get someone whose blood, like an AIDS patient's blood, and then you inject it. You give them the Eazy-E treatment.
What?
And that was like, yeah, he literally said this on national TV on Jimmy Kimmel.
And no one's investigated that?
No one's investigated it. And this is it's really fucked up. And
that's like
you can watch it. It's on YouTube. Like the video is on YouTube. You can see this, that basically Suge Knight admits to us. So now
I gotta see this.
A number of people, including Eazy-E's children, little Eazy-E, who's his son, and his daughter, have said that there is no way that he contracted AIDS and then died that quickly because he literally just like came down with it. So there is a huge push from a lot of people, his own Eazy-E's children, other people that knew him, that were friends with him, that say that he was absolutely murdered, that Suge Knight did in fact do exactly what he said on Jimmy Kimmel and injected him with AIDS blood.
Jesus Christ. Hold on. I'm gonna try to see if this is the clip. I'm gonna try to pull it up right here.
Yeah.
Fresh out of jail, I'll come check you out, right?
Right.
But why the bulletproof vest?
Oh, it's not. Oh no, that's just it's the new style. You've been
No,
in the
no,
can
no,
for a
no,
while.
no,
This is
no,
what
no,
everybody. That's what all the talk show hosts are wearing.
This is a new thing, right?
Yeah.
See, if somebody gonna do something about it,
Right.
technology is so high, right?
Right.
So if you shoot somebody, you go to jail forever. So the kids, you don't want to go to jail forever, right? So they got this new thing out there. People sell them all the time. They got this stuff they get blood from somebody with AIDS.
Yeah.
And then they shoot you with it.
Oh,
so
well, that seems bad.
That's
Yeah.
a slow death.
Yeah. Yeah.
An Eazy-E thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, right in the mood. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
It's pretty crazy. And
Wow.
yeah. It's crazy. He basically admits to it, and so like a lot of people that were like involved in this scene and knew everybody involved say 100% that Suge Knight killed Eazy-E, that he was the one that injected him with AIDS blood or something.
That's just so specific that it's impossible to take that as a joke.
Yes, and there's been a push. Eazy-E's daughter actually did a crowdfunding campaign to try to investigate her father's death, but apparently it was not successful. and I think this was right around the time that Straight Outta Compton came out. And that kind of like the Straight Outta Compton movie really kind of like blew this up, I think, a lot. Like it kind of like brought it, and everyone, you know, it had been known for a long time, obviously like 20 years, but like when the movie came out and they depicted what happened with Suge Knight and Eazy-E in the record studio, that kind of like, I think really is what made it like, oh shit, like maybe this was actually real. So I think so Eazy-E, you know, I think we could say it's probably a whacked situation. I don't think I mean, it's possible that he did contract AIDS at some point in his partying days and stuff. But I think it's just like Suge Knight basically said he did it. So you know, it's like OJ saying like, oh, I'm going to write a book. This is how I did it if I would have done it, you know? Yeah,
this is that sounds like
it's damning.
Yeah, that's just friggin' nuts. I mean, right now he's in jail again.
He's back in jail for killing another person when he ran somebody over.
Yeah. So he's scheduled to become eligible for parole in October 2034. He's also been named a suspect in orchestrating the murder of the notorious B.I.G., which we said before, but that's be a separate occasion when we talk about that. It's like if you just go into like, we could do like a whole episode on just like unsolved murders in the rap game, and that would be like we could probably do several episodes on that.
Most of them are probably linked to Suge Knight in some way.
I'm sure they are. I hope he never.
The guy he's a gangster. He's not a fucking he's not a businessman. He's not a legitimate businessman by any means. He's 100% a mob boss basically.
Oh, yeah.
He used his underworld connections to fund all these record companies and stuff, and was notorious. And again, this is depicted in Straight Outta Compton that he was like ran Death Row Records like it was like his own personal gang. Like he had enforcers, he had people beaten up, he had East Coast rappers beaten up all the time. Like he was 100% capable of doing these murders. So
yeah. Just wild stuff.
Yeah. So there you go.
There you go. Very interesting stuff there. Yeah, I think
Eazy-E probably whacked.
Can't prove it. That's why it's fun to speculate. But I think I'd put this one on a whacked.
Yeah, I would put this one on a whacked.
All right. Before we wrap this up, do we have anything else to add to about the magic of Robot Chicken?
No, I think it's we've said all you could say about it. It's a great show. It's really well done, well made, and it's fucking hilarious. So go check it out.
Yes, I concur. It's a hilarious show. What have we said that hasn't been said? If you like pop culture, if you like all that nerdy stuff, and you just want to see just mindless, hysterical nonsense that just defies the laws of anything, you should definitely check this out. It's very silly, so don't expect anything from Shakespeare, but it's a kick. It's a kick and you'll have a good time. But yeah, thanks again, everybody, for staying with us, and let us know your thoughts about Robot Chicken. Tell us your favorite moments. If you're looking at this on YouTube, tell us what you liked. Tell us what you like to see on Robot Chicken. Give us your take on the theme song if you want, and also, what do you think about the Truth or Whacked? We want to know. Do you think Eazy-E actually just got AIDS from somebody and just died? Or do you think Suge Knight had something to do with it, or maybe somebody else that we didn't hear about? Maybe there's another theory about what really happened to Eazy-E. If you want to let us know about that, feel free to let us know in the comments section. We would really appreciate that.
I just want to add one more thing too. Is I just want to thank everybody for sticking with us for a whole year, and we're hoping this year is going to be just as good, or if not better. So thank you, everybody, and. We'll continue to, as you continue to keep listening, we'll continue to keep putting out quality podcasts.
Yes, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, pal. All right. Well, this has been Why Does This Exist? I've been Chris.
And I've been Rob.
And remember, question everything.
See ya.